Muchos grande. Grande Colombia.
Uh-huh. This is why I don't get you to cast Battle for the Americans, yeah. That's why it just doesn't happen.
Oh, I'm pretty sure there was a specific whatchamacallit. The reason why I'm never allowed to cast Sentimental Latino anymore is because I keep calling it Sacramento.
Oh yeah, Dark King
he
vetoed you.
Yeah. And what was it also? Chopa Hyperion? I also vetoed from that. Metelo de Americas, though. That's
Oh, God.
I'm on the edge. There's like a loophole I'm exploiting. But regardless, we are going to be continuing our series here on Curious Minds, LE, and Curiosa. Here in the top left-hand corner of the map, starting all the way to the top left-hand corner, the Teal Terra player coming down from the land of Korea. He's, of course, going to be representing Shopify Rebellion. We have ByuN.
And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Curious Minds LE, we have the Chinese Terran player, the DreamHack China runner-up himself, representing KaiZ Gaming. It is time.
Oh my god.
I had to bring that up.
Yeah, that 2-week marathon that we did just... It melts again in my mind, but yes, Cyan is the champion of DreamHack China this season.
In my mind, it melts together in your mind, and you're like, oh my god, Koga Joey, he won DreamHack LATAM, right? You're like,
he did, didn't he?
Against Cyan in the finals. Oh my god.
Jim Rising, he beat Estrella.
Oh god, with Protoss.
Absolutely insane. Raza just fucking popped off against Special.
Dude, he really did. We do see ByuN scouting a little bit here, looking for any kind of proxy, and as we were just saying, it's one of those weird things where Time is basically the Special of China. For the longest time, he has been the champion, the representative from that region. But this season, things were different.
Yeah, and it was also a pretty close grand finals there in DreamHack China as well. Very hard-fought battle, but in the end, Cyan came out victorious. I was super hyped for that. Everybody was really hyped for that, honestly. He did, and you know what? He did it for patience.
He did. He did it all for his papi Patience. Ooh, but here we are in the lower semifinals, and as we can see on the screen, ByuN is currently up 2-0. The previous game was a lot more back and forth. As you were saying, it was a very long game, and there were periods where Time was ahead. You know, it was a little more back and forth, a little more dynamic. So Time definitely has it in him here to bring it back and try and claw his way back in the series.
Oh! Decent deflection there on the Reapers, and yeah, I do think that Time definitely has it in him to claw his way back into the series as well. I have to wonder who's going to be more aggressive, though. I wasn't really able to catch most of that last game. I was just sort of catching bits and pieces from Setfast's stream, but it did seem like Time was... at least Time initiated the aggression, and then ByuN held that and counterattacked, but then Time held that, but wasn't quite able to counterattack, so they built units for a while and then went for a base trade that ByuN ended up winning? I'm not entirely sure what happened. If anyone in chat is gonna be willing to fill in the blanks for us, would be much appreciated. But yeah, we have Time and ByuN, who are the two probably the two most aggressive Terran players of their respective regions. I mean, there was a period of time where Time was or Peinan rather, was referred to as the Chinese ByuN.
Yeah, there definitely was a period during that time. Meanwhile, ByuN, he just waited for his medevac. He's going across the map with his tank. Yo, he doesn't quite go up into the high ground, but the tank will be able to siege up. Where is that lock-on?
Not quite there for Time. But there for ByuN, a brilliant start to this aggression.
Oh my god, I don't know if you noticed, but as well, ByuN was waiting to siege up with the tank. He was waiting to deal with the Cyclone first because he didn't want to get locked on. He wanted to have the opportunity to lift up his tank if he ever needed to. And yeah, ByuN just micros the hell out of that engagement and comes out on top.
Oh, we were really surprised that ByuN micros the hell out of things. Beautiful pick off as well here.
The Raven!
Tag volleys from the tag. The Raven gets locked on and taken out. Fortunately for ByuN, he doesn't have any more high ground vision once that scan finishes up. But man, that was a fantastic trade for ByuN. Not too much economic damage, although arguably he, Time rather, has to repair a bunch of his buildings.
Yeah, I mean,
But ByuN
ByuN
traded so efficiently.
exactly. ByuN got a Cyclone. ByuN also got the Raven. He has a Raven of his own, which means high ground vision. He has to be careful because there is a tank, but he can always disable it if he so chose.
Yeah, disable it or throw down a auto turret. These two tanks have really clumped up together. But at least there is that bunker nearby.
What am I?
Alive. The tank doesn't get taken out. What?
The tank doesn't die and the Raven doesn't die. Nothing dies, mate. Ah!
Nice. That's ByuN for you, really. None of his units ever really die.
Yeah, but neither did Times. Meanwhile, Time was able to finally snipe that tank of ByuN. ByuN is being forced back. Time just barely holds on. And thankfully, he doesn't forget to repair his Raven.
Yeah. Keeps it alive. ByuN forced to retreat a little bit, but I was just going to try to rotate, keep the pressure on, and make sure that Time never gets a third base. ByuN, meanwhile, he's already about finished expanding.
Yeah, exactly. The third is about to finish up there on location for ByuN. Meanwhile, ByuN, as you were saying, waiting for the opportunity to pounce because now with two Ravens, now with the Raven superiority, he can just throw down those disables whenever he wants.
Yeah, despite those two Vikings, it is still easy for ByuN to maneuver around with his own Ravens. Two Vikings are not going to do a whole lot to really deter the Ravens. Now that they're weakened, they might. But they've already done their jobs, arguably.
That they have. At least, Time does have that air superiority. Because of that, he's going to be able to snipe one of these tanks here. Beautifully done. Finally, the Vikings of ByuN show up.
And just like that, he equalizes the Viking count. Not for long.
Exactly, getting a little bit too over-eager there. Time desperately wants to get his third down. And he will. But he's going to be taking a little bit of damage here, even losing a couple of SCVs.
Just like so. Time pulling the boys, getting a little bit frustrated. And obviously, he should be able to hold with the landed Vikings, but at what cost?
Exactly, like ByuN, sure, he finally loses his army, but because ByuN has been trading so well and so efficiently, like ByuN has still lost, I mean, relatively even amounts here. But the problem is that he's been mining so much longer.
He really has, hasn't he? Worker advantage, the mule advantage as well, because he, I think, got the orbital command a bit quicker. I could be mistaken there. Regardless, he landed his orbital quicker. He built it in location. He was able to mine a lot quicker.
Exactly. He's just got that massive economic lead. Because of that, he could afford those losses, unlike Time, who was struggling a little bit more there. But because it's a TvT, like, it's still difficult to kind of push into these entrenched, sieged up locations. So ByuN backs off, gets a center tower, just chills out.
Yeah. He even has control of his own target towers. ByuN has eyes everywhere.
Literally everywhere. Meanwhile, Time, what does he have going on here? He's actually getting a couple of medevacs, so with this, he will be able to go for some cheeky drops to sneak into maybe one of the bases of ByuN. But again, ByuN, he's got Vikings here towards the north. He's got those watchtowers as well. Like, how? Like, how do you get a drop off?
You throw sand in ByuN's face. And in those, and in that 1 second that ByuN is taken to react, you hope that you're fast enough to sneak some units in.
You know, maybe you can do something to distract ByuN a little bit. He does take control of the northernmost watchtower, but ByuN gets in position. He already sieges up. He has the high ground. And this is another thing.
High ground and the Viking count.
Yeah, this is another thing that makes it so difficult to hold on to this third base. We're talking about how open it is. Also, make this high ground right next to you. That's in range of your base.
Yeah, actually. Those tanks are get right on the edge of that.
Yeah.
They can start shelling away at that mineral line. Don't think it's going to be in range of the base itself, but I could be mistaken.
I think he can if he got closer. Like if he just went right up to the edge.
Yeah, actually, now that I think about it, I actually like this move from Time where he did sneak out his bio to try to get some counterattack, but ByuN was already prepared with defenses at home. He has just been in control from start to, well, I don't want to say start to finish because the game's not over yet, but it might finish pretty dang quickly.
Yeah, you can see how disgusting this.
Control.
You can see how disgusting this tank spot is. Meanwhile, ByuN is reinforcements are trying to hit that natural base. Ooh, the Marines of ByuN were not on hold position, so they actually run on forward. They all get cleaned up.
Yeah, they do, but here come the rest of the reinforcements. ByuN has a pretty nice army lead, but honestly, one more miss rally or one more misclick, and ByuN can give that up. Time is a pretty fortified position here. We're outside his natural.
And ByuN is so overstinned, by the way. Like, his medevacs can't keep up. He just keeps stimming his Marines. But the CC actually died!
Alright, calling me mistaken then.
Oh, yeah.
Tanks can get in range of that.
Well in range, mate.
I'm gonna do that from now on. I love it.
Oh my god, the Vikings even landed as well to help clean it out. We do have another third base here, but the drop is coming in. Time completely out of position. He's gonna be forced to go for a base trade.
Honestly, there's a lot he can do here, at least when it comes to the third base location. The tanks aren't quite in position, and that third base gets taken out. But look at how much bio ByuN has got. Look at how well positioned these tanks are. And the fact that he has another base, that he could afford to lose that base.
Yeah, we'll see what Time tries to do here. He's actually trying to siege up in the face of the tanks of ByuN. Is it going to work out? We do have 4 tanks for Time. Ooh, the volleys go off.
Beautiful shot there, but unfortunately there's nothing else in position here that Time can really attack. Here comes a drop though, and things are starting to change.
Yeah, for the worst for Time. That drop was a little bit miscalculated. Meanwhile, speaking of drops, we have another drop here on the other side of the map. ByuN trying to deny the third base of Time. Meanwhile, ByuN expanding towards the south. This is a planetary already.
Yeah, it was planetary for quite some time. ByuN has been mining from that base again for quite some time, and this is I want to say most of the army for Time, but I don't think it is. He's got a lot of reinforcements back home. That's it. That's the vast majority of Time's tanks.
Yes, this is going to be an expensive loss, and here we go. The boys are being pulled. The Marines dive on top of this tank, and ByuN will clean up everything. And as you said, that was a lot of lost tanks. Time down to only 3, one of which is staying at home.
Yeah, that was a very nice split from ByuN to try to, evade the tank volley for as much as possible. Most of the shots went off on SCVs, and they didn't quite splash their damage onto the Marines.
Exactly. Meanwhile, ByuN, because he had control of this watchtower, he actually spotted the army moving out here, so he was able to rotate around to meet it. They scan each other. Time backs off, but he knows that he needs to deal some damage. Time is behind pretty hard here. He needs to, I don't even know if he can do anything to this planetary. It's a planetary, man. What are you what are you gonna do?
Yeah, and it's only 2 tanks. So he can really start sieging that down. I'm just now noticing how massive that worker difference is. Oh
yeah, it's huge, man. It's absolutely massive. ByuN, he's up on 4 bases. He's actually getting a 5th base. he's just not stopping. And
I mean, he floated the main base.
He did. He did.
Quote unquote.
To be fair. But again, he just has so much economy going on right now, and he can afford these trades. He can afford to throw away a couple of Marines here and there. These drops, it's fine.
Yeah. So if he gets a couple SCVs, or a building, or a tank, it's an acceptable loss. All things considered.
Exactly. Meanwhile, ByuN does spot this drop here towards the north. He's going to be rotating his tanks over. At the same time, he wants to hit this fresh base of Time. He also was forced to lift up his name.
Tanks are so exposed. Yeah, the major difference, though, is that ByuN is, or should be able to defend his base. Now, Time rotates around. Just looking up, but again, this high ground location light, it is disgusting. I love it.
Oh my god, that it is, and just like that, ByuN obliterates the army of Time. Time just can't push up.
Takes out half an army, takes out another half. GG is called. ByuN takes that series 3-0.
Like,
I
mate.
think that 3-0 TvT
Uh-huh.
was about the same length as our 3-2 PvP.
I believe it was. I believe it was. GG, well played. Congratulations, ByuN. And mate, how do you take that triangular third? Like, I don't think you can. Well, not when your opponent's being that aggressive, I should say.
Exactly. I was gonna say, how do you take that triangular third? Just be even more aggressive. Best defense is a good offense, as ByuN demonstrates.
Just take the vertical third, man. Just take the vertical. Just
nah.
Oh my god, it's true. If you want to lose, then may as well take the triangular third. You're right. Nah, but GG, well played. Congratulations, ByuN. Time put up a very good fight. But it does feel like ByuN, he was well aware of the advantages of that map, and he was utilizing it well to his advantage. Like, that's the thing about this new map pool. You know, there are a couple of quirks here and there on these new maps, and you know, you got to be aware of that stuff.
You really do. And ByuN was.
He was. He definitely was. And now we are getting ready for our grand finals, mate.